Among yourselves, practice charity. And outside, zeal for the salvation of souls.
This mission is growing. Paco says, I can remember when I first joined the Oblates, the bishop who ordained him had just come here and was ordained bishop for Tijuana. And there I was, just a young kid, and I thought, someday maybe that bishop will ordain me. And so now it's happened. And behind him is Fernando, and behind him Gelasio, Antonio, all of these guys from this neighborhood. I mean, this has been a great gift. 2/3 of the Oblate seminarians for the U.S. come from here.
We began there as Oblates in 1996 with Father Bob Callahan. He entered by himself to that area of the city, and then a few years later Father Dan Crahan joined him.
Well, the whole mission started about maybe 10 years ago, 11 years ago, with Father Bob Callahan, who was a veteran missionary. He worked in the Philippines, he worked in Hong Kong, in the Valle de Trinidad, and he came down and saw the great need of the city of Tijuana, which one day will be probably the second or third largest city of all of Mexico. The city grows about 250,000 people a year, and this area, when we first came, he showed me this area. He asked me to come down and help him. But I was up in Brentwood, and I said, you know, we need to multiply ourselves. There's no way we're going to get a lot of priests to come down and do this work, so we need to bring nuns down. And I knew the nuns in Lowell, and he had a couple or 3 sisters working with him, religious of the Incarnate Word.
Here we have where the mission really started. Father Bob Callahan, the founder of the mission, who's now retired in Nazareth House, lived in this little trailer. As you can see, it's very, very small, for almost 2 years. And at that time, there was nothing of the buildings and many, many houses. And this is basically where Father Bob set down the trailer and began to form the mission. I feel the calling of being a missionary very strong. I love what I do, and I love being across the border and being with the people and in these circumstances. The part of the Oblate charism that really speaks to me, of course, is to be close to the people. To always remember that one of the first big steps that St. Eugene did was to speak the language of the people. ¿Tiene nombre?
Sí, Jacqueline Gabriela.
Gabriela. I think that's what makes us Oblate. We're not intellectual people, we're pastoral people, we're close to the people. I try to be present to people. This little map is the map of our parish. It don't look very big, but it is very big. And right now we say Mass at 12 sites. Saturday evenings we have 4 or 5 Masses depending on the Saturday, and then on Sunday we have 12 Masses. And in this area is basically 180,000 plus people. On the walls, all the different chapels, that we have, but that right now is part of our whole parish.
The clinic was established by Bob Callahan as a very small clinic at first, and since then it's become a larger building and service to the people. The clinic includes doctors, dentists, there's a psychologist at the clinic, there's a social worker, and there's also an educational center for students who want to do work on computers and so on.
Medically, they can't go to any doctor because here you have to pay right on hand, right on the spot. And if they don't have the money, they can go to the doctor. So we try to help them. Sometimes here in the clinic, sometimes we help them financially if it's an emergency. So all this they wouldn't have if we weren't here.
I was in a needy parish, inner city,
giant Hispanic parish in Houston. But this is a whole other level of need.
You know this guy Nick that's here? He's a seminarian with the Oblates. He was a lawyer, joined us. Just before he took perpetual vows, he left and went to a Trappist monastery. He comes back to the States and goes to the diocese. And he did it with the understanding that he would eventually go to Guatemala as a missionary. But somebody got reconnected with the Oblates and asked to come back. And you know, now you've been here. You've seen the situation of the people here. He says, so I talked to him on the phone, how's it going? Oh, he says, I love it. It's great. I feel like, you know, now my priesthood means something. He says, but I'm thinking there might be poorer people somewhere. He says, well, I doubt it. But
I came back as well because I find in my own life, not to criticize other diocesan priests, but I prefer to live with another group of guys, namely in community, to pray together and support each other, but also correct each other. And you know, that brotherhood is not there as much for a diocesan priest.
Hey, don't follow.
Her husband, he built the little house for them. 6 people live in that little thing. Pero ustedes tienen que pagar por el uso de terreno. So they don't own the land. It's that rich farmer's land. They are allowed to excavate, and they have to give him a commission. This is a little Eugene. He was born on the outside of the clinic, not inside. She didn't quite make it. That's the mom. She gave birth at about 9:30 p.m. as she entered the gate. And this little guy, when he came to bang on the door, he just wanted medication. He didn't realize the baby was coming out. But then the nuns came down and cut the umbilical cord and took care of it, and he's been okay. Unfortunately, the mom has had drug use, but I think hopefully now she's got off that, we hope.
The cheapest way to build here is, first of all, a tarpaulin, then with packing crates, then with garage doors, then you graduate to wood, and then the next one is these blocks, and the most expensive way to build in Mexico is with brick. The high school kids came down here, as many groups come to build a house for the poor. They come and build little houses, and then they all sleep in one bed, the mother and father and the children. So we changed the program. We built garage door houses. We began that with the Rotary Club. So you have 2 garage doors, one on each side, and we put a garage door in the middle so the family could be divided into 2 rooms. The mother and father could sleep in one room, the other people could sleep in the other room. As the need was, we began to learn construction. To give people hope, you know, and it's a struggle, but to know that you can make it, that there's a chance to get out of this. It's not gold, it's not silver, it's more important. It's fire, that you give people the fire of hope and the fire of love.
I think being clergy, being assigned to something, it's often that we come in with the answers and with, you know, the final word, and I think that it has its place and it can be useful, but I think oftentimes we forget to really listen and share certain struggles.
There were some times in my life when I would say, you know, is it all worth it really? But I think ultimately those moments are meant to be opportunities for you to seek something deeper and something more.
Being a priest, you know, among the people, that you go where they go and you can and be with them as you are. That was one of the things I think we Oblates brought to it, was that we're people.
Doña Davina. Me falta tu abrazo por hoy.
Ay.
Otra vez vas a ser actriz. This is Doña Davina. She lives across the street from us. She is one of the grandmas. She's selling all these little trinkets, etc., sitting out here all day. 3 times a week. If she makes $3 a day, that would be a big deal. $4 would be a marvelous day for her. I always joke about when groups come in the summer to do a little work. My joke is, after a week they've been here, have you seen any lazy Mexicans lately? When you drive around La Morita and the whole San Eugenio Mission, you see everybody working. I'm talking about everybody working with their hands. They're hauling out dirt. They're not bringing in any construction people or anything else. Everybody learns how to do things. Women work, children work. I find these people very close to nature. About 3 days ago, I saw some little kids just running here chasing butterflies. And that interested me because they were so intent on it. And so they came over and they said hello, and I said, where were you born? And it was really interesting, even though they were only 6, 7 years old. None of them were born in Tijuana. They were born, in a ranchito, and that's the way they approach life. That's the way they approach God. I think we always got to remember that. It's hard because sometimes we want to come more with the head, and we want to form more with the head, but I think with these people you start more knocking on the door of the heart.
El Señor esté con ustedes. Lectura del Santo Evangelio según San Marcos.
Everybody brings their gifts, brings their concerns, brings their person, their story. And I think as you honor and treasure each story, I think you learn to live that value of community. Like St. Jean said, charity, charity, charity among yourselves. He didn't say first, save the souls, but he said charity, charity, charity among yourselves, and then strive for the saving of the souls.
We're doing a great job here, in my opinion. This is one of, really, for the U.S. province, to me, this says it all.